Hello and welcome to Louise Singleton Creations. Look what I've just got. It's the P13 DTF printer from Procolored. It's brand new and I've got it. Am I not the luckiest person in the world? Yes. Because not only have I got the DTF printer, I've got the oven that goes with it and the heat press and all the other bits and bobs. Wow. I don't know what I've done to deserve it, but I've got it and I can't wait to try it because I've never tried DTF printing before and I can't wait to see what it turns out like. So if you're intrigued too, stay tuned and enjoy the video. Wow. So as if by magic, here it is all set up and ready to go. And isn't it smart? The setup of the machine was very easy, and with the assistance of the video tutorials, no problems adding the ink as well. So all of that was really easy. I would say for the software side of things, you will need some computer knowledge and confidence to add the software to your computer. You will need a computer with Windows. So yeah, luckily my husband was on hand and he put the software on without too much trouble. But with all that said, let's have a look at it.
The P13 DTF printer is really designed for home businesses, and with that in mind, they've really put effort and thought into the aesthetics. Look at the wood grain effect here. That will really blend into your home environment. And there's no more lifting lids to check your progress. The expansive viewing window lets you take a glance at your prints very easily. And as if that wasn't enough, the inside is very brightly illuminated, so it's very easy to see what's going on inside. The cable chains are lined with sound absorbing foam, which makes it 50% quieter than regular DTF printers. The LED display heating system panel on the left is very simple and easy to use. And there's also a handy control panel on the right, which includes the cancel and pause and cleaning options. There are access doors on both sides which help with maintenance, and it also helps when you're threading in your DTF film from the roller to make sure you're getting your film in there straight. And there you can see at the back the ink bottles and the ink overflow container. And there you have the roll of DTF film mounted on the back. The film and the inks are all included with the P13.
Right then, you've heard all the information. You've had a good tour around the machines. Let's make something. Let's do the fun stuff because honestly, it's so much fun. I'm going to start off with my top that I've bought, and I want just a simple logo on it to show you this in a simple way how this all works. And then I'll get onto the more complex things after that. So yeah, let's see how it works.
One of the most profitable aspects of having a garment printing small business is personalisation. And that can be achieved in many different ways, from photographs to adding text to make the item truly unique. And my favourite app for doing that is Canva. And here I am on Canva. I found a design that I really like. It's an editable design. And so I'm changing the year to 1973 instead of 74. So that is my date of birth, and that's how I chose to personalise mine. And also you can change the font and the size and anything you like before saving it as a PNG with a transparent background. Once I'd saved it, I opened up my ProRip software, which is what comes on a USB to be installed when you get your printer. So once you've got your image opened up in your software, you can change the size to whatever size you like and then send it off to print. Okay, I've pressed print. Let's see the magic in action. I'll leave the volume on so you can see what kind of noise it makes. I don't think that's too bad at all. What do you think? So So the wonderful thing about DTF printing, or direct to film printing, is that it has white ink. And what it does is it prints out the colour of your image, and then on top of that it prints out white, so that it's got a white background. And that means you can put your transfer onto any colour fabric. So you can use a black t-shirt, put your image on, and you won't lose the image because of the blackness. It won't be transparent because it's got the white behind it, and the picture will stand out beautifully. And you'll see that soon when I do an image for something black. It's amazing. And once you've finished printing, you can use the inbuilt slicer to slice the DTF film, and there you go. It's very easy to remove. Since I filmed this, I found out that there is a way to avoid getting that slight white border that I've got on here. You just need to change the indentation for the white ink setting on the software to 0.3 millimeters. So once your design has finished printing, you need to put the DTF powder on it. The DTF powder comes with the printer and it lasts a long time, so you won't need to buy any for quite a while. And I've got a plastic box there which has a lid, and I like to just use that box to keep all the powder, contained, and then I can just put the lid on afterwards. And there you can see the powder stuck to the ink, and it's ready for the next step, which is baking it in the Procolored oven. So the purpose of the oven is to heat the DTF powder for around 300 seconds until it cures and becomes a glue, which will melt onto the fabric when you put it into the heat press and fuse them both together. And yeah, I think that you can probably use an embossing gun for this if you don't want to purchase the oven, but the oven really does make it very easy, and I wouldn't recommend putting it in your kitchen oven for obvious reasons. So on your DTF powder packet, it will tell you how long you need to bake the powder for, and then how long you need to press it for, as well as the temperatures that you need to use. And so with the oven, you can preset the temperature and the time, then put your printed image in there and press go, and the timer will count down. And here's how it looks after the powder's been heated, like an orange peel effect. Then all that was left to do was to add it to the top on my heat press. First of all, I pressed the top to make sure it was nice and smooth, and it's automatic with the heat press. It's just like with the oven. You set your time and your temperature, and it will automatically open and close when you press the button. And I really like the fact that the button isn't on the machine, it's separate, so you're not touching a hot machine at any point. Once the shirt was pressed, I made sure that the design was in just the right place, and then once again I pressed the button for the heat press and pressed it for around 20 to 30 seconds. You need to wait for it to cool down before you peel off the film very carefully, and it's ready. You can give it another press if you like to make sure it's really nice and stuck and permanent, and if you do that, you do need to cover it up to protect it. You could actually just put the film back on to give it another pressing, or you could use a Teflon sheet or baker's paper, but look how stretchy that is. It's cool, isn't it? So because I've already shown you how the whole process works, I'm not going to keep going through all of that. You'll just see little glimpses of the parts I've already shown you. So here's the thing I'm going to be adding my image to. It's a black canvas shopping bag. I thought black would be really good with this image. I gave it a minute or two to cool down, and let's have a look. Let's peel off the film. Look at that. Wow. Those colours. I think I might actually do this design on a t-shirt just because I love it so much. It's just so beautiful, and it feels like quality as well. It's so smooth and very flexible. Not that it needs to be flexible on this canvas bag, it's not stretchy at all, but yeah, it's very durable and I love it to bits. Right, now it's time for a project on wood. This is a painting I did a couple of years ago and gave to my mum. And I really liked it, and I thought, oh, I'd quite like a copy of it for myself. So I decided to scan the image and then save it and print it out. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'm going to apply it to a wooden box canvas. And here it is once again in the ProRip software, and I need to resize it. I measured my canvas and I want it to go down over the sides of the canvas as well, so I included the sides of the canvas in my measurement. And then it was time to print it. And I love the size of the prints you can do on this P13. It's a big sized printer. It's A3, so I think it's about 13 inches in width you can do the images. And of course it's on a roll, so you can do long images too. And yeah, it took about 10 minutes, I think, to print this one out because it was big. But you don't want it to be too quick, do you? If it's too quick, it's not going to be good quality. It likes to take its time, so I allow it to take its time. So here's the canvas that it's going to go onto, and because I'm going to be pressing onto a hard surface, I don't need the cushion there. That's just for fabrics. And so I'm going to put the canvas onto the hard surface of the press. But before that, I'm adding a Teflon sheet just to protect the press, because the image that I'm pressing on is bigger than I need it to be, and I don't want any of it melting onto the machine. So then I put it into place as before and press it. But I will let you into a secret. I pressed it for too long. This was actually, I'm doing this in the wrong order really. This was one of the very first things I did, and I got my timings wrong. I gave it way too much time and it did wrinkle. But it actually turned out okay, and you'll see why in a minute or so. Right then, so because I wanted to make my image go down around the sides of the canvas, I thought the best option would be to use my handheld heat press just to do the sides. And so yeah, it was just a case of trimming the corners, folding it all over and, pressing it until it was done. So I'm going to fast forward through that. Let's peel the film off. Okay then, I was really thinking that this was going to be ruined. You can't tell from the angle you're looking at it how much it wrinkled in the middle from having too much heat, but it really did. It was noticeable in real life. But what I did later on was cover it in resin, and you will see it later, and it did disguise that problem. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what my results were. Look at what is achievable. I mean, think about it. Think of all your artwork, your children's artwork, your children's photographs, or anybody's photographs could go on there, and you're making your own canvases so easily. So yeah, I think it's amazing. And speaking of children's artwork, this is an image done by my daughter. She does digital art and I love this one to bits. I asked her if she could also do a back view of the same image because I wanted to use them on a notebook for the front page and the back page. And while it's printing, I'm going to tell you my favourite features of the P13. So as I said at the beginning, this printer is designed for small businesses. It's a professional machine and it's a big investment. But what I love about it, and about DTF printing in general, is it's so versatile. You're not limited to making t-shirts. You can make all kinds of things and you'll make your money back in sales in no time at all. The other thing that I love is that because the Procolored company has been in business for so many years and made so many different printers, they've learned what works well and what doesn't work and what needs improving. And each time they release a new printer, it's even better. And this one is no exception. The features that this has got are just so impressive. I think my favourite feature is If you're not using it for a while and you've left it on standby, it will automatically go into cleaning mode and do the self-cleaning of the print heads every now and again to make sure that the ink on the print head doesn't dry out. And I think that's such a wonderful feature. And my other favourite thing is quite obvious really, it's got to be the print quality. The quality of the images that I've printed so far has blown me away and I am so impressed. And speaking of quality, let's see how these turned out. Right, as you know, this time I'm making a notebook. And for my notebook covers, I'm using wood, which I cut out on my laser cutter. But if you don't have a laser cutter, you could use a mould and make resin ones, or you could just use cardboard. So I'm just checking here on the sizing, and it turns out that I made my pictures a little bit too small, which I was disappointed about, but it wasn't the end of the world. I sorted that out later and you'll see what I did. So here I'm just positioning them carefully, and this time when I used the heat press, because I really wasn't sure what timings would work well for wood, I just kept doing it for a few seconds at a time and opening it, checking it and doing it a bit longer. I didn't want to overheat it like I did with my first wood project. I used a red ink pad to cover up the place where, there was wood showing through because I'd made my image too small. And yeah, I used it all the way around so it was all quite uniform and it disguised it quite well. I also added the eyelets there, as you can see, and then added the paper and the book rings, and yeah, I absolutely love it. And I'm not sure if I need to work on my timings on the heat press, but there was a texture to the surface of the images which some people might not desire, but I actually really love it, and I'm glad I got that texture because it looks like leather. And yeah, I don't get that texture when I do it on fabric, it's only on wood. So yeah, either I need to change my timings or temperatures or just leave it the way it is because, like I say, it looked like leather and I love it to bits. And there it is, all finished. And yeah, isn't it awesome? I absolutely love it. And just think, you can use any of your artwork from your children to make your own personalised things just like I have. I just love it. Right, so there's one last thing to make. This time I'm using an old resin coaster that went completely wrong, and I luckily didn't throw it away because now I've found a way of giving old rubbish resin coasters a new life, and I'm so happy about it. I printed out the same image that I put on my canvas. I thought it'd be nice to have a coaster to go with it. And yeah, so then all I needed to do was add it to the coaster. So here I'm just cutting the edges, trimming them off nicely. And then after doing that, I just used a file to make sure that it was nice and smooth around the edges. And to finish it off, because it needed protecting, I used some resin. And here's the coaster covered with resin, and I think it's brought out the colours even better. And I did the same thing for the canvas, and so they're both nicely protected now and they look great.
And so we've come to the end of the video, and I have to say, I am blown away by DTF printing, and specifically with the Procolored P13 DTF printer, which is just awesome. I mean, the colours, the quality is just, and the fact that I can use it on my everyday artwork to create beautiful things. These are covered in resin now to make them hard wearing. Obviously, this is a drinks coaster, so it needed resin on the top, otherwise the picture would have been damaged very quickly. But wow, what a difference. I'm so glad I got this printer and learned so much new stuff. So yeah, I'm very happy with it, and I would highly recommend it to any of you. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you would like to, and I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.